You're listening to Titans of the Trades. I'm your host, Ryan England, author of Hire Better People Faster and creator of the CoreFit hiring system, a proven process to help growing companies attract and retain only the best. I'm on a mission to revolutionize the perception of the trades and elevate it to new heights. After growing up in a blue-collar family, my passion for making the trades cool again runs deep. If you're a titan in the industry and want to be on my show, stick around until the end and I'll reveal how you can be my next guest. Welcome back to another episode. I am your host, Ryan England, and so thrilled to have today's guest here who's actually introducing technology into an industry that might be a little struggling to adopt it sometimes. And so I want to talk about some of the impacts that he is having on that industry today, have him share his story and how he got to where he's at. I want to welcome to today's show, Bryce Wuori, the founder and CEO of Pavewise. Bryce, welcome to the show.
Hey, Ryan, thanks for having me. Looking forward to this. It's exciting.
Awesome. Well, hey, I love starting out every show with the same question because I believe that as people who are out there making an impact in the industry, sometimes we got to change people's minds. We got to change the way they think about some things. So what's that myth you want to dispel for our listeners today before we jump in?
Yeah. So in the construction world, there's a myth out there that it's always been that way. It's never going to change, right? We've always done it this way. And we're trying to disrupt some of that with, no, we can do it a different way that is actually more efficient, can make you more money, and helps you even reduce stress as a manager in these, construction projects and stuff. So we're doing a lot of behavior change. You don't have to do it the same way that you were taught. If there's a better, more efficient way to do it with technology or even in a different process, pursue it. One of my favorite quotes is like, do the best you can until you know better, then do better, right? That's what we're trying to really push out there is like, you don't have to just do it this way. If there's a better way to do it, pursue it.
I love that. Do the best you can until you know better, then do better. I love that quote. That's great. So Bryce, you grew up in the industry and you've seen all sorts of things. You were telling me you've been in the field, you've operated all sorts of equipment, and you still support the industry in doing that. Tell me a little bit about what you've got going on now. Maybe even share a little bit about how you got there.
Yeah. So I'm third generation construction. I started boots on the ground. Pavewise was actually developed from the struggles I had in construction as moving up from operator to a manager, QC technician, bidding the projects. I just kept seeing these struggles from the way I bid a project and the communication gap between that and the field, the people actually building the projects, like making sure they understand what's required to be successful. I built this Pavewise about 5 years ago to manage my consulting and my crews, and it worked really good. And what we found was people were like, hey, how are you doing that? And like, what can we have it? And pretty soon, like 5 years ago, if somebody would have said like, you're going to turn into a software company, I would have laughed at them because I'm like, no, how are we going to turn into a software company? But it was really designed to fix a real world problem that we didn't know what existed like across the whole industry. And that's what's really exciting about Pavewise is like we're helping people be more successful, communicate better, and just, perform their jobs better. And that's awesome. We love that part of it.
I think communication, to me, communication is one of the biggest challenges this industry has. Really good at communicating with customers. They know that that's a requirement, but when it comes to their team, when it comes to being able to update the information so that they have the details when leadership knows it, I think just the industry in general has just struggled with that because these guys aren't computer guys. They want to go build cool stuff every single day. And to sit down at a keyboard and hack away is just like, oh, can I just go build something or dig a new trench or move just tons and tons of earth? Like, why are we doing this? And but I think that as times change and as we have this new generation that grew up around technology, if technology providers like yourself aren't there to support them, they're going to start looking for other tools, other ways of doing it.
Yeah, and that's really, you're exactly right. We're in this unique time within this industry where like I think it's 25% of the industry's workforce is 55 and older, and they're starting to transition out, the older generation that didn't rely on technology. And I look at like my 12-year-old son now, who pretty much talks to his phone to do anything, and texting using technology, CapCut, and all these things that it's just natural for them to learn and work with these things. And that's the generation that's coming into the workforce, that they're so used to using technology that they graduate from college, they don't want a pen and a paper to take journals, and they want to use technology to, they know there's an app out there to help them manage their time better. So we're trying to fill some of that void in with like introducing and attracting that younger generation to construction with technology. This industry is amazing. I mean, like, you get to move dirt, you get to pave asphalt, you get to build roads, you get to pour columns. Like, it's amazing, and integrating that technology into it and attracting the younger generation to be like, hey, there's a way that these two can combine, and you can really see some cool stuff.
Yeah, that got me thinking about just the pride that exists in this industry. I mean, that good pride, that, hey, I built this bridge.
Mm-hmm.
See that building? I built that building. Like, just the pride that comes with that. And I think that right now we live in a world where everything moves so fast that we're just like, I think I built that one. Like, it's not the same pride that we had before, but as we bring in technology that allows people to build those processes, follow those processes, and get to do human stuff, building stuff, I think we are generations away from having robots being able to build the infrastructure that we depend on every day. I don't think that's coming anytime soon.
Yeah, there's semi-autonomous equipment out there running in mines and stuff right now. I think it's coming sooner than people realize. One of the unique projects I'm actually working on this year is we're running a project with semi-autonomous rollers in the paving train. So they have operators sitting on them, but they're not controlling the machines. They hit a stop button if something happens, and then we have fully autonomous as well, where there is no operator. But what's unique about this is, like, people think we're taking away jobs. It's really hard to find people who want to sit on a roller continually doing the same thing over and over again for 12, 14 hours a day in the environment. But what we do is we create new jobs. Somebody's got to be more technology savvy to manage these pieces of equipment that have this technology. So we're replacing somebody that maybe is an operator and putting more of a technology person in place to manage that as a digital operator, really. So that's what's exciting about some of that kind of technology. And that's what we work on as well with Pavewise, is integrating other futuristic technologies into how do we automate this process? How do we build higher quality roads that last longer with technology? And that's what I love doing every day, is dreaming up these concepts and seeing it actually get built and performed out in the field. So
that is so cool. And what you're saying is absolutely true. I think that we're a ways away from the entire job site being completely autonomous. I don't think that's coming anytime soon. But what I am seeing is what you said, where we have these monotonous, all day long, you're just driving a roller, you're just tying beds of rebar, where we're seeing robotics come in to help with that stuff so that humans can do more human stuff. That repetitive, monotonous task, I see that being outsourced all over the industry, and I love it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think some of the more advanced stuff, operating a crane, I think it's going to be a while before cranes are operated autonomously, but they're gamifying them.
Yeah.
They're putting joysticks in them. They're giving these big giant screens. You've got all the virtual reality training now, because that's what's going to get that younger generation in here. So I love that you're in the technology space, because I know the industry is just, they're prime for it. And I know that they need it and they want it, but there's not a lot of people out there serving them.
Yeah, that's really one of the biggest problems is that. And what do you do with the data? And, like, I see this a lot where a company wants to move forward with a technology, but they maybe had a bad taste from a previous one because they didn't get the right training. They didn't use it correctly. And it just left that bad taste in their mouth. So there is a huge void out there where the industry wants to use technology to succeed, but there's just not enough champions and people to help through that process. And that's one thing that we're trying to solve as well, is how do we help these companies move forward to be more efficient with technology and be successful?
What are some of the outcomes that you've seen from companies before they met Pavewise and then after they've met Pavewise? What are some of the results, the tangible things? Because I find that a lot of times the resistance to technology is there's a big expense, there's a big learning curve, and I'm not really sure I'm going to get a ton of value out of it.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the hardest things that we face as trying to sell this software, right? Is build the trust in this is going to perform and it's not going to take, it's not going to, our biggest goal is we don't want to make more work for you. We want to reduce the amount of busy work that you can do and give you time back as a foreman, as a supervisor, as anybody operating this. We want to give you back time. And we're finding just through our last year, our projects that we've ran, we're giving back 1 to 3 hours a day of time to an operations manager that has a lot of busy work to do. Like they're getting a lot of, quality control paperwork. They're getting time cards. They're getting emails. They're getting all this. And what we're doing with our technologies, we're centralized platforms. So like you build a project, anything that's associated with that project goes into that file. So you don't have to go searching for your documentation. If you have a subcontractor or somebody that is like needs to upload something specifically to that project, they upload it. We have AI running in the back end that organizes it for you.
Wow.
Like, so all you have to do, and we've kept this very simple because this industry is very busy and they don't want to be depending on, like technology and organizing a keyboard and all that. So we've built the AI in the back end that we call PAT, that literally, if you can take a picture and hit upload, it's smart enough to identify what project it goes to, what folder to put it in, and who to notify that this just came into you. So, and that happened from learning, right? Like we saw the friction in the field where we had some older generation project managers, supervisors are like, hey, we love sharing this data, but I don't want to organize 50 photos that I've uploaded today and all these documents. Like, how do we do that? I sent it to my dev team and they're like, we can build this to actually do it all for them. And that's been game changing for our software because they don't have to do that anymore. They hit upload, boom, done. It goes into the file at 95% accuracy. It goes into our folders or into our projects and they don't have to worry about it. So
that's amazing. I want to go back to something you said because you just glossed over it like it's just a normal thing in your world. But did you say you can save each manager 1 to 3 hours a day? A day.
Yep. A day. Yep.
Talk about the productivity. I mean, 1 hour a day doesn't sound like much, but that's what, 5 hours a week?
Mm-hmm.
It's 20 hours a month. It's 250 hours a year. And that's per person. That's not for the company.
That's exactly right.
It's for project manager. And that's the 1 hour side. What happens if it's 3?
Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah. And that's where we integrate in some of the others. So if you're running like our we call them hyper local weather stations on site, they are automating all what's the compliance of keeping track of the weather, the SWIP, the rain, all that. You have to do that on these projects. Like how much did it rain? What's our average temperature? We set up units that are ran off of solar that are literally certified weather stations for real on-site weather that are tracking, logging, automating all that. So you don't have to write it in a journal anymore. And it's 100% accurate weather. So the way the industry is doing it now is they might have 30 projects out with like a rain gauge that they go dump. And they have a journal that they go write like, oh, we got 0.21 inches of rain today. And they go write it in there and the average temperature and they're using a weather app. We can set up an automated weather station that literally does all that and text notifies them when they get more than a 1/4 inch of rain to go do their inspection. So like that alone can save you. Like one of the people who are running 20 of these units, he told us that like he used to get up at 4 a.m. to go drive and check these sites, look at the weather app. He doesn't get up now till doesn't have to get out till like 8 to go because he can see where it rained, how much it rained. If he needs to go check on the site, anything, it automated the whole process for him. And he's just like, he's our biggest champion. And like, he's like, this stuff is so cool. But like that was awesome to hear like that he now doesn't even have to come into work till like 6 or 7 and take care of his paperwork. And we're giving him back that much time in his life, Well,
I mean, that's definitely the other side of it, right? Like you have, from a leadership perspective, I'm thinking, wow, if my managers can be that much more productive, that means I can get away with less people, right? We're already having a labor crisis. So that means I don't need to hire an extra PM. I mean, at 3 hours a day, that's almost half of a full-time person.
Yeah.
And so if I've got 10 managers out there in the field, I mean, it's easily going to give me 2 extra people every single
Hmm.
day.
Yep.
And from a leadership perspective, but then you've got the, we know about mental health in construction. We know about suicide rate. We know about those things. It's a stressful, burn you out type of work sometimes. And to help your people get their life back because they are able to outsource the important things that a computer can do,
Hmm.
like that's just game changing to the industry. Because I think if we don't bring in the technology, we don't automate these things, the labor crisis is never going to get better.
No, it's not. And getting back to like the mental health side of it, I owned 2 construction companies and owned a consulting company. I had mental breakdown from all the stress, and it's a high stress environment. You're making, 30, 40, $50,000 decisions right now. Like this, just the plant just broke down. What do? We got $10,000 to $20,000 an hour worth of wages sitting here on hold. Do we call it? Do we, like the decisions and the stress is really, really high. And we're trying to help mitigate some of the risk, identifying that this could be a potential so that, when it does happen, at least you plan for it, or like help you mitigate. Like we even put in expert recommendations on, weather impacts to help the project manager understand that this is going to come, this is going to happen, plan for it so that when it just shows up, you're not stressing out, and like you have a plan in place. And that's one of the other reasons that I built it originally was um, I was taking care of so much busy work. Like I was a project manager, I was a business owner. All I did was push papers, and I didn't even like I ran a $30 million project, and I sat in my office. I didn't even make it out to the project more than twice because all I did was is emails and paperwork and like all this stuff that needed to get done. But that's where I was like, I don't need to do this. Like an assistant can help me with a lot of this and stuff, but that's what we try to do with this software, and that's why we kind of call ourselves like the virtual assistant to the foreman, because it's taking care of that busy work and that communication that takes time. You don't think about it, but like every time you have to check your email or send an email or send a text or upload a document that somebody else needs to see, that's time that you have to do that. It's your own time. It's concentration that you have to put forward, and it's not necessary. There's technology that can actually do all that. So.
I love that. I love that. And I mean, yes, you've got the mental health component where it actually saves some people some of the stress. They're able to do what
Hmm.
I call people work. Right? Like
Yeah.
it's the human side of construction. Sometimes we forget about it because we're out there building infrastructure, and we forget like there are real people with all sorts of things going on in their personal lives, and then it's compounded by the job site stuff and being able to automate some of these important things so that they can be freed up to do more
Hmm.
of the people side, the human side of the business, I think is so amazing. And being able to use technology to attract the younger generation to the trades, we gotta. I believe that in order for us to solve this problem, we have to come together. We're not going to sing kumbaya, but we're going to lock arms and we're going to say, hey, we've got to do this as an industry, because if there's only 1 or 2 of us doing this to bring in the younger generation, they're never going to hear about it. As an industry, we have to work on this labor crisis together, and implementing technology, software, giving people time back to focus on people stuff. I mean,
Hmm.
that's how we make that happen.
Yeah, and there has to be a bigger push by the schools and stuff. Like, I mean, construction is an amazing. You can have a great lifestyle with construction, and it's really rewarding. I wouldn't want to be in any other industry. I love it so much, and um, there's just not a lot of people. It's always been looked at too. This might be another myth of construction is it's where you go when you can't do anything else, like in life, right?
Yeah.
Then that's completely false. Some of the most successful people I know, smartest people I know, are in construction. So that's another kind of bad, uh, falsely, or just something false, that is
Yeah.
is not true. Like you can go to construction and be really successful, and I know so many people that have done that, and pushing that towards the younger high school generation, even college. Like, you 2-year degree, or just, you can start from the bottom and work your way up with hard work. I mean,
Yeah.
this is one of the industries where you don't need a paper to become the CEO of a construction company. And that's
Right.
amazing.
That's right. I've got some really good friends that are working to change that narrative. Don't make construction or the trades in general, don't make them your plan B or your plan C. Make them your plan A. You won't need a plan B
Yep.
and a plan C. It's that
Nope.
good.
Yeah. And it's really one of the only recession-proof industries out there. You look, I mean, the roads always need to be built.
Yep.
The infrastructure always has to be replaced. I mean, like it's never gonna, it's always gonna keep growing. It's growing at 5 to 8% year over year right now. So I mean, like it's a very good industry to become a part of, and it's pretty much recession-proof. I mean, if you think about it.
Yeah, so right. Hey, Bryce, thank you so much for being on today's show. I mean, this is such a great conversation. I learned a ton. I know our listeners are going to get some value out of it. How do they learn more about Pavewise? How do they get a hold of you? How do they learn more about what you're doing to impact the industry?
Yeah, we're heavily involved on LinkedIn, the Pavewise website, www.pavewisepro.com. We're always looking to connect with people, in the industry or just want to learn more, help, spread the knowledge of construction and how cool it is. So yeah, just reach out through our website or through LinkedIn and connect. Love to talk to anybody who's interested.
And what's the URL for the website?
It's www.pavewisepro.com.
Pavewisepro.com. Bryce, thank you so much. Enjoyed today's conversation. I know there's a ton of value packed in it.
Yes, I had a blast, Ryan. Thank you for the time. And yeah, thank you so much.
Ryan England here. Thank you so much for listening to Titans of the Trades. If you're a titan in the construction, manufacturing, or skilled trades industry and would like to be a guest on my show, please visit podcast.corematters.com. If you found value in this interview, would you share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot on your phone and share it with a friend or post it on social. And if you know someone that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Titans of the Trades. I love seeing your posts and guest suggestions. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, click the subscribe button. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show and get me one step closer to solving the labor crisis facing the industry. Want to know more about how we're doing that? Go to our website or follow me on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening.